Ian Walker's hair is iconic.
Yeah.
I had that haircut when I was a teenager.
Hello, and welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast. It is summertime, the sun is shining, the weather is sweet, and we're here with our All About series about a specific club. Today it's Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur. We're going to talk everything about Spurs this season, previous seasons, seasons to come. And I cannot do it alone. I never do this alone. I have to come with backup, with support, with the knowledgeable one on the pod. It is Charlotte. Charlotte, how are you today? How are things?
I wouldn't go that far with the knowledgeable one, but I am really good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. Been looking forward to this one. There's a lot to talk about with Tottenham, as I'm sure our man below has a lot to say as well. And we'll introduce today's guest. Today's guest is Billy Holdmyheim as well. He's doing his content creation. How are you today, sir? Thank you for joining us.
No worries. Thank you for having me. I'm very well, thank you. It's like you said, the sun's shining, and summertime's around the corner, so looking forward to it.
Absolutely, and as you were saying for the pod, you're off tomorrow to Madrid, aren't you? You've got a little holiday planned, so you're very happy, I would imagine.
Very happy, yeah. Doing a stadium tour on Friday as well, so looking forward to that.
That's awesome. That'd be good. I went to Madrid and I didn't get to do the stadium tour. I'm gutted, so I'm definitely going to have to go again. Definitely something on my bucket list to do. So, absolutely brilliant. You, of course, a Tottenham fan. You are a Spurs fan. Why don't you sort of just give us an introduction to the people who don't know who you are, what you do? The floor is yours.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Holdmyheim. I do mainly Football Manager content over on TikTok and more recently over on YouTube as well. I'm one of the best players on Football Manager, I think, and the stats show as well. So it kind of backs it up too. I do. I'm probably well known for things like doing the hardest challenges on Football Manager. For instance, getting Andorra to the semi-finals of the Euros was probably one of my biggest achievements over on TikTok. One of the toughest ones, and I'm a Spurs fan as well for all my sins. So
that's we're slightly above Andorra, to be fair. We'll give them that credit at the very least. Yeah, plenty you've got going on. So I've seen a lot of the stuff that you do over on TikTok. Lots of Football Manager content that you've got going on there, as you say. A lot of hard saves, difficult saves for, say, our viewers that don't play Football Manager. There's a lot of different things you can do on it. Some people just play the game, and then there's certain challenges and things that take up. So, I mean, Andorra's one of your. How many seasons did you have to play as to get Andorra to the semi-finals?
I did it in under 12. So wow. I was Andorra national team manager and FC Andorra, which is owned by Gerard Piqué. They're in the Spanish second division, so one league below La Liga. Made it fairly easy. Once you get into La Liga, there wasn't too much to do from there. Just make sure you finish in European football, get the funds in, and develop the facilities. And the national team came along after that. So yeah, it was an unbelievable run playing it one Saturday afternoon, getting to the semi-finals, and then ultimately losing on penalties to Austria. So what more could you ask for?
There you go. It's always damn the Austrians. How dare you? How dare you ruin the dream? How dare you ruin the dream? And of course, so you've you say TikTok and you evolved into YouTube. When did your FM content start?
It started last year. So I came back from honeymoon. I went to Bali on honeymoon, came back and was like, I've always wanted to start a TikTok channel. Probably should have done it during lockdown, but I thought I'll do it when I come back. I'll pick Bali FC because I've just been there. And that was one of the first saves that I did. It kind of rolled on from there. It was took a little bit of time getting up to 1K. And then I found, once I got to 1K, it kind of snowballed from there. Once I started doing something a little bit different, so the harder challenges, it attracted a lot more people. So yeah, it was just a split moment decision to do it.
Yeah, that's how it starts, I suppose, isn't it? I mean, a lot of people we've spoken to and started kind of content, whether it be Football Manager or football, it's gone to lockdown or just after lockdown, and it's become accessible to a lot of people. And obviously, TikTok's massive. You can see Charlotte quite regularly on TikTok promoting our podcast with song lyrics as best she can.
I try.
And so you've now transitioned from TikTok into YouTube. How are you finding that transition from, say, the shorter format to longer format videos?
Yeah, it's a lot trickier. There's a lot more bigger creators in the space as well. So it's a little bit of a difficult market to break into. But I feel like there isn't many doing really good YouTube Shorts, and I think that's the route I'm gonna go down. Sort of the streaming and YouTube Shorts, because I feel like that's the future of where YouTube's going, is the shorts. They very much trying to replicate TikTok, and I've been successful on that platform with short form content. So I feel like I can bring it over to there too.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. As you say, there's lots of, as you know, people that know the pod know myself and Josh come across some kind of a football manager space. We sort of dibbled and dabbled in a little bit of football manager. We're still involved in some sort of drafting competitions involved there. So there's a lot. It's definitely been booming the last couple of years. I think people look at gaming and they probably look at FIFA being the main one from a football perspective. But the football manager community, I don't know what you see on your side, is still seems to be growing. I think definitely FM22. There's some reservations I've seen about Football Manager 23, but it's still growing. There's still more people joining and joining.
Yeah. I mean, player base has expanded massively since they've launched on console. So I think we're up to about 4.5 million players across PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So it's definitely growing, particularly on consoles. And I feel like that will bring a lot more people back into the PC market as well, where the game is at its strongest.
Yeah, it's got the power and the opportunity, and a lot of people will, if they don't play Football Manager or haven't played Football Manager, will have played it when they were younger. You know, I'm old enough to remember the Championship Manager days. You know, when it all began.
I used to play it when I was younger as well. I used to try my best with Rochdale, but I never succeeded. We're just destined to be rubbish.
Well, Josh is trying to take it on for you at the moment, isn't he? He's doing a Football Manager in Rochdale with you as assistant manager, I think, to try and guide him through his first season in League Two. But yeah, the thing about I suppose the Football Manager game is it's, as we said before, lots of challenges, lots of teams, not just the English teams or your own team. You said Barley, you can go somewhere and suddenly be like, yeah, I'll support that. And there's been some amazing stories in the community of people that have gone to see that club, that have been involved, have suddenly become affiliated with that club. And is there any? Did you own any of the shirts of the teams that you've managed?
Yeah, I'm that typical Football Manager player. So I went to Barley. I've got the Barley FC shirt. I'm doing a YouTube stream with the FC Isle of Man at the moment. I bought 2 of their shirts as well. So yeah, I've got those. In the past, I've gone to Bulgaria to watch football. So I've gone to watch Botev Podliv out in Bulgaria. So I did a save with them in 2013. Went there, got the shirt. Was in the end with the ultras jumping up and down. No idea what was going on. It's all in a different language, but yeah, I've done the very stereotypical Football Manager person thing where you manage a club, you fall in love with it, and you go there.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. A lot of people do. It's particularly with a lot of non-league saves as well. There's a lot of they've extended the database. A lot of people do it, so there's an opportunity to be such a number of teams now on the game. I think people really do enjoy that. And I guess the big question is, with this being all about Spurs and about Tottenham, when was the last time you did a Tottenham save, and how did it go?
Oh God, it's got to be. I think when Neymar was a wonder kid. So we've got to be talking 10 years plus ago. Yeah, I can't manage Tottenham. I get too frustrated. So for instance, if I do really well, say we beat Arsenal in game, and then next week lose to I don't know, Everton. No disrespect to Everton, but I get quite annoyed and frustrated. So I'm not very good at managing my own team. That's probably the hardest challenge for me, is to succeed with Tottenham because I don't have the patience for it.
I think the problem is where you kind of have already an affiliation with the players and what they are and they can't do. And while the game's, as realistic as it can be, sometimes it doesn't quite work out when you've got your favourites and you've got your non-favourites, and you'll still pick, even though, everything in the game tells you to go that guy over that guy. You're still like, yeah, but I saw him play on Sky Sports at the weekend and he was terrible. Yeah. So I can't bring him in. So talking of moving over to kind of Tottenham and Spurs, are you a lifelong Spurs supporter? How did Tottenham start for you?
Yeah, lifelong Spurs fan. I grew up in East London, so I was the only Spurs fan that I knew growing up. All my friends are West Ham or Arsenal or one of the bigger clubs. So yeah, it was because my dad was a Spurs fan, got me into Spurs. I was going for years when I used to live in East London. Haven't been much recently because we live quite far from the ground, but that's just an excuse. But yeah, lifelong. I've seen us ups and downs. I've seen us with teams like when we had Darren Anderton and Les Ferdinand up until the Harry Redknapp era and right away through to now. So I'm used to Tottenham being not so good. So those last few years have been absolute bliss for me. And obviously now we're at the tail end of that, and we're coming out the other side, I think.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a kind of a railway road, which we'll kind of come to. And you had that really good period, as you say. I mean, Tottenham have always been a Premier League team. They've always kind of been, a top 6 team, and particularly in recent years, and that. But it certainly has seemed to drop off a little bit for them. I mean, is it frustrating at the moment being a Spurs fan? I can imagine so.
Yeah, it's very frustrating because our club is run like a business. It's not run like a football club. And it is one of the most successfully run football clubs if you look at it from a financial perspective. But on the pitch, it hasn't translated to that. There's so much stuff we can get into, but we haven't really got a plan for that team that we had that made the Champions League final. Like a lot of them were aging. There wasn't a recruitment process in place. So yeah, it's tough. It's very frustrating sitting there seeing like, we're making wrong transfers, like Richarlison for 60 million, for instance, waste of money in my opinion. I did a TikTok video of that right at the start of my account and got absolutely slaughtered by everyone. And I'm gonna make another one when I stitch that and say, I was right. I was I've been vindicated.
Sorry, Shay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, it's fine. You go.
I was just going to say, you always find, don't you, with new signings, and there's an excitement because it's a new signing, and it's just because it's somebody new, and you can't help but kind of love them, whoever it is, and you persuade yourself in your mind, and you're like, whatever I thought of that guy before, he's now putting on my team shirt, so it's going to be different. But yeah, Richarlison's one Premier League goal wasn't the return you were hoping for, was it?
No, no disrespect to him, but I think if I play up front for Tottenham, I could score a goal.
I feel like being the positive one of a podcast, we need to just go on to some positive memories first. It's not been the best season. So we'll talk about the Pochettino era. Obviously, that was quite positive, the rebuild and what he did for obviously Spurs. What did you make of obviously Pochettino and the era?
Yeah, I loved it. I feel like he had a project plan. He was backed by the board. He was given his time to gel the squad together. He was a young manager at the time, so he was very promising at Southampton. Did a very good job there. Came to us, did an unbelievable. I think it's an unbelievable job getting Tottenham to a Champions League final. I never thought I'd see that in my life. Like especially when we were down in that first leg and we were in my mind we were out. We were done, and then seeing that comeback in Amsterdam as well was absolutely incredible. And yeah, it's just a shame that Sissoko gave away the penalty so early in the final because once Liverpool were ahead, that was it. But yeah, it's a shame it ended on a sour note with him. It would have been great if we had won it and he'd walked away afterwards because then for me, that's the project plan completed. I do feel like there must have been something going on behind the scenes why he left. But yeah, I think that's probably the second best era in Tottenham for me. I think growing up, the Harry Redknapp era is my favourite one. Just because that was when we really started to change as a football club. I feel like that's when our trajectory changed from being this sort of mid-table, kind of maybe bottom of the league, not bottom of the league, but kind of fending off relegation now and again into like a proper European side and finishing there consistently. And that was when I was getting the most excited, when we had players like Berbatov and Robbie Keane up front. I mean, Berbatov, what a player I've never seen someone play like him.
So nonchalant, wasn't he? He was so just like chilled with the play. But you had you had Robbie. If I remember, you had Robbie Keane, Jermaine Defoe, Berbatov, and I think you had a fourth as well, didn't you? There was another guy. I can't remember who it was, but that kind of rotation. Berbatov was just used to glide along the pitch. Just could be infuriating, but could be brilliant.
Yeah. I remember going to see his first game at White Hart Lane. I was sat next to a guy, and they didn't know anything about him. I knew about him from Championship Manager actually when he played for Leverkusen. So I knew that he could develop into a great player. I mean, it doesn't always happen, does it? Let's be honest. But and I remember saying to the guy he's going to be good. He's going to be great. And then you see him in the warm up, and he's instead of sprinting between the cones, he's walking, and he's like playing with his hair, and it's like, oh, what? I've made myself look like made myself look silly here. And then he goes and he has an unbelievable game. So yeah, it's just incredible that the guy could put in no effort pretty much, but still be such a great player. I mean, it looked like he had no effort, but he was. I think he's the best player I've ever seen live.
Obviously, I really like the Harry Redknapp era as well because it was obviously when I was growing up with football, and I remember I used to go to my dad's as well at the weekend, and I'd always be excited no matter who Spurs were playing. They'd really excite me under Harry Redknapp, and just him as a manager as well, like the whole interviews on Sky Sports out of his car and stuff. He was just a fantastic manager, wasn't he? And just what he did for Spurs, and just that, because obviously we've mentioned Pochettino, over obviously Mourinho, there's these days now with Conte, but Harry Redknapp himself, would you say that was the complete rebuild for Tottenham? Was that I can't really word it.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I feel like he kicked off the project for us.
Yeah,
I feel like he was that. He had a great squad. If you look back at, like we said, Berbatov, Defoe, Robbie Keane, amongst others, Paul Robinson in goal. as well. First Tottenham goalkeeper I had on the back of my shirt as a teenager. So yeah, he really kicked it off, and I feel like the club, we had a few appointments after that didn't quite work out, but I feel like if you look back, that's the turning point in our club was when we had Redknapp, when we were pushing for Champions League and getting Europa League and doing well in Europe as well. I think we got to the quarterfinal of the Europa League. Well, it wasn't. I think it might have been called the UEFA Cup then, or the Europa. I don't think it was called Europa League. It was one of those competitions, but yeah, that was a real roller coaster for me under Redknapp.
Yeah, we've obviously mentioned Harry Redknapp. We spoke about Pochettino. Obviously, there was Jose Mourinho who came. What were your first initial thoughts when he got linked with the job?
I actually was quite excited, to be fair, because I don't mind what style of football Tottenham play, as long as we win. Like, if we win 1-0 every game and it's the most boring game you've ever seen, it's 3 points or it's advancement in the cup. So I'm not fussed about, silky football, tiki-taka, all of that stuff. I mean, it's great if you can play that and win as well. But I just felt like he could bring something to us, and he was a winner as well, something that we've not really had before. Like, he's proven across Europe that he can win league titles, he can win European trophies. So genuinely, I really wanted it to work out with him. It's just a shame that he got removed just before a League Cup final, because with Mourinho in a final, you just never know. He doesn't lose many of them, so you just never know what could happen.
What was your feelings towards, like, obviously the sacking and stuff with Mourinho before that? Do you think obviously the timing was wrong? Because as you said, he can win any final on his day, can't he? What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like they should have gave him that game. Just let him have that game. If he would have won, it probably could have got him a couple of months more, but I think the end was in sight for him anyway. Some of the press conferences that he did, you could tell that he was already starting to lose the dressing room. So it was on the cards. But I just feel like in a one-off game, if you had to pick a manager, he would be up there.
His game management and in those big games is, I mean, he almost obviously took Roma last week to a Europa League final, and he's still got that one game kind of in his locker, very difficult to beat. What did you make of recent comments? Because obviously he's come out and, there was the comments about every other club but sort of Spurs. It was obviously more towards the ownership than the fan base. But how did you take that as a past manager?
He's always bashed Tottenham, isn't he? So it's not surprising, but he shouldn't be doing it. But I understand it. It's he doesn't have the greatest relationship with the board, so I can see where he's coming from. But to me, it just came across a little bit bitter. I mean, sometimes you just have to leave your exes alone and go forward with life, right? So
just move on.
I mean, there were some great eras there for Spurs. Jose Mourinho, Harry Redknapp, fantastic. Moving on to kind of more modern times, and sort of before we get to the latest, one more to talk about, which is kind of linked to the season you just had. Antonio Conte was an appointment and a half as well. Obviously, again another winner. Again, kind of someone that was proven Premier League. Had some initial success. I think it was fair to say. That did some bits in the first season, and then another appointment that towards the end, again similar to Mourinho, press conferences, dressing room, all the same kind of things. I mean, how did you feel Conte, the entire Conte era, now looking back?
I think, like you said, he had a great start, and as a Spurs fan, I was very excited to get him. And again, like you said, another proven winner. Wins trophies every couple of years. So, second season, you're thinking, okay, this is our year. We're going to win something, even if it's the League Cup. No disrespect to the League Cup, but it's a trophy. And again, he lost the dressing room, I think, because he wasn't backed. I don't think by the board. They gave him some signings, but some of them just didn't make any sense. Like for me, Perisic was never going to work out. He's a little bit over the hill. It's okay playing in Serie A, but the Premier League's a different animal. Richarlison, like we said at the start, it just didn't work. Whether that was a Conte signing or not, I don't know. But the signings that I feel like he did make, Bentancur and Kulusevski, they were very good, especially in the first season. Bentancur very good this season as well, up until he was injured, and Kulusevski just hadn't had the same season he had previously. Whether that was the style of play or stuff going on in the dressing room, he just didn't live up to those initial heights, which is a shame because he looked an absolute quality player when he came in. He sort of turned our season around. He
was very excited. Yeah, that first period when he came in on the loan, I think we mentioned this in the pod on Monday. We had Kulusevski, Son, and Kane on fire. It was as good as a top three in anyone in the Premier League really. On their day, they were absolutely devastating, and it just one that kind of dropped off. Bentancur, I think, had a good season, and his injury was obviously a massive miss when he got it. But Kulusevski, I don't kind of know what happened there. I mean, the song that you've got about him is phenomenal. That's for, that's for sure. The Ginger from Sweden, but he now needs to live up to the song, I think, again.
Yeah, he does. He I don't know what it is. Maybe if he's there next year, he can recapture his form. But I feel like that front line, like you said, it was one of the best in the Premier League, and it's just falling off for whatever reason. Maybe there's stuff going on in the background that we don't know about. I know Son's probably quite keen on the move, and Kane looks like he's on the way out as well. And to be honest, as a Spurs fan, I don't blame either of them. They've given their all for the club, and I feel like we should allow them to move on. Thanks for the good times, but you can go and maybe go for like Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, a PSG, a big team, and win some trophies. Because at Tottenham at the moment, it's not looking like they can.
No, I think that's fair, isn't it? I know there's, as you say, a few. They're kind of the key names on that list. Harry Kane obviously is. There's a daily debate about where Harry Kane's going to go, what his next move. There's been a daily debate for the last 3 seasons, I think, about Harry Kane. But I think now feels like the time that there needs to be kind of a big change. Obviously, there's a managerial change which we'll come on to in a little bit when we go through kind of this season, which is very kind of hot off the press. We'll get your takes onto that. But just to get your view of while we're talking about past Spurs and excitement, a segment we quite enjoy, which is to find out your favourite of your best Premier League 11 for Tottenham over the Premier League era. First of all, what formation? As a football manager, you must have some formations up your
Yeah. I think to fit them in, I've got to play a 4-4-2 just because I need 2 strikers. There's so many great strikers we've had. I have to pick 2 of them. I can't pick just one. So yeah, I'm gonna go for a 4-4-2. I think for me, kicking it off in goals, Paul Robinson. I think he's been the best goalkeeper that we've had. Very close second would have been Ian Walker, just because he was the first Tottenham goalkeeper that I had growing up, and it's that nostalgic memory. Probably not technically the best goalkeeper we've had, but for me, Paul Robinson over Lloris any day of the week.
Paul Robinson, was he the one who scored a goal when he was at Blackburn? Was it Blackburn? Yeah. I remember that. Love it. Memories.
He
was class.
He's got crazy Premier League appearance numbers as well. I think I saw because of that long period and he at Leeds and Blackburn. I think he's one of the longest standing, as goalkeepers tend to, don't they, when they've been around for a little while. But he had such a long period of time, didn't he, Paul Robinson? Classic. Although he didn't have the haircut that Ian Walker had. That was something else.
No, he definitely didn't. Ian Walker's hair is iconic. I had that haircut when I was a teenager, just because he had it.
Ian Walker. So for any of our younger viewers, have a little look on Google, Ian Walker, and see if you can get that down the down the hairdressers this weekend. Ready for summer. Probably not a summer haircut, to be fair, a bit warm for summer. But
winter.
More for winter.
We'll all have him in winter now, whoever watches this pod. We'll all have Ian Walker.
Ian Walker starting up new season. So you've got Ian Walker in goal. Moving into your back line, who's your right back?
Right back. Oh, this is such a tough one for me. There's so many. We've had so many good right backs through the years, but I'm trying to think now. Right back for Tottenham. I like Paul Stalteri because of nostalgia, not because he was the best. Canadian international. He was there. I think he scored the winner in a 4-3 game against West Ham. I actually was at Upton Park that game in the West Ham end watching that game. So yeah, you can imagine I sort of stood up and then sat back down very quickly when that goal went in. And I think that's why I'm picking him, because of that memory. He probably wasn't Tottenham's best right back, but for nostalgia reasons, we'll go for Paul Stalteri. He was wasn't there for a long time, but he was there for a good time.
Yeah, a legendary pick for your own memory is sometimes better than that. I'm trying to think right back. I mean, yet Steve Carr was someone that was a long period of time that you had at right back, and of course, was Carl Walker was there, wasn't he?
Yeah,
previously
Walker.
To Manchester City. Yeah. That's another one. So yeah, definitely some good right backs. And what have you got on the left hand side?
Left hand side, I'm going Christian Ziege. Another one from that Robinson Stalteri side. That guy had an absolute bullet of a left foot. Probably one of the best left-footed players I've seen. Probably Gareth Bale's probably got a better left foot, but Christian Ziege, I've put him at left back because I want to put Bale in the midfield. I know he didn't really play midfield for us, but he had his best years at Real Madrid, and if we could have Real Madrid Bale at Tottenham, that would be great. So yeah, Christian Ziege comes in at left back for me. Legendary German.
Legendary German, legendary left foot. That was that Premier era of a lot of players, because John Arne Riise was another the thunderous left foot. There seemed to be a lot of thunderous left-footed ball hitters, and Ziege was definitely one of those. So, who's partnering your centre-back partnership between those two?
Yeah, it's got to be iconic. It's got to be Ledley King. It's got to be the first centre-back. Probably the best centre-back Tottenham have ever had, in my opinion. Ability-wise, if he wasn't injured, he would have been an absolute incredible centre-back. Probably England's best centre-back if he wasn't injured. I'd say up there with Rio. Him and Rio probably England's best. But yeah, Ledley King's got to go in at centre-back. For me, he gets an automatic spot in any team.
I remember, you know, the football stickers that we used to collect when we were younger. I remember having the whole of Tottenham's team, apart from Ledley King. I could not get him anywhere, and I've still got the book, and everyone's there apart from Ledley King. Fuming.
We need, if anyone has a spare Ledley King sticker from 97, 98, or whenever he played, give Charles a message.
I'll have to have a look on eBay.
So she can complete her album, finally. It was sad for Ledley King with his injury, and I've heard a lot of people that watched him that, you know, really did rave about what he could have become and what he could have been, and the quality. I mean, England at that stage had some fantastic centre-backs and fantastic options. You know, Ferdinand, Sol Campbell, John Terry coming through. You had Ledley King in there, you know, Jonathan Woodgate, these kind of players. Another who kind of suffered with injuries a little bit too. It is a shame, and so, but I mean, he's still revered well amongst Spurs fans for what they could see. So yeah, I think Ledley King makes sense. And who are you pairing alongside Ledley? I presume it's not Eric Dyer.
No, it's definitely not Eric Dyer. I think the clue's in the title with his name, isn't it? No, I'm going to go for Jan Vertonghen. I feel like it was either him or Alderweireld, and I feel like Vertonghen is slightly better for me. I feel like he's one of the real leaders we had on the pitch. And it was a shame when he left. I think he left the season too early, in my opinion. I think he had one more year left. But yeah, I feel like him and Ledley King would be absolutely quality at centre back. I feel like that'd be a top four Premier League, definitely centre back partnership now.
Yeah, they would have been a really nice spot. I think the problem for Vertonghen, it was the same. Him and Alderweireld at the same kind of time were kind of aging, weren't they? So I think you could have got away with one, but it was kind of the both of them. And Vertonghen was another that could play out quite nicely from the back. And to see Alderweireld at the weekend, he was playing back in Belgium, wasn't he? I think he won the lead, didn't he, for Antwerp? He scored a goal in like the dying seconds of injury time, an absolute bullet for his Boytown club. So fantastic end of his career, by the sounds of it, for him.
Yeah, it was a last-minute winner, like 89th minute screamer. He scored like a Vincent Kompany-esque against was it Leicester that Kompany scored that goal against for Man City?
Chelsea, was it Chelsea? I think it was Chelsea, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was that kind of goal. But it's fair play to him. He's gone away from Tottenham and won a trophy. Another player that's done that.
That's done that. To be fair, that and the Sevilla boys as well are doing you proud.
Yeah,
doing you proud. So moving into the midfield, we'll go to the right side of midfield. Who have you got down at right mid?
Darren Anderton. Another player from growing up. I think technically one of the best players Tottenham's ever had. Another player that was just so injury prone, and he's such a nice person in real life as well. I went to meet him when I was a kid. He was doing a signing at a football store in central London. I can't remember. I think I was about 6 or 7, and I just remember him like taking his time. I had about 4 items for him to sign. He'd stand there signing them, having like a little conversation with him. So one, he's in the team because he was a decent player, and he was a quality chap as well. So he gets extra points for that too.
Double points for being a nice guy, absolutely. Anderton was another one. I remember him from his England days. He didn't get enough credit, I don't feel, for England. There was always the stigma about him being injured and sick note. But Euro 96, he was very, very good. I mean, he hit the post, I think, against Germany in the semis. And obviously, I think it was him that whizzed the ball across for the famous Gascoigne slide that almost got his toe on. So Anderton had a great tournament, and he was a Premier League kind of legend of that time, wasn't he, on the right-hand side? Back in the era when crossing was so important from the right, outside of Beckham, someone like Anderson for a cross of the ball was about as good as you were going to find, I think.
Yeah, 100% agree. He just doesn't get enough credit. I feel like he's a really underrated player. I feel like if you look back at his tapes, he had such great technique, he had great vision, great passing, great crossing, and I feel like if he was at, say, a Man United at the time, he would have got spoken about a lot more.
Mm. Flipping over to the left-hand side, I think you already mentioned, is that Gareth Bale's spot on the left?
It's got to be. It has to be. I know he didn't play there much for us, but yeah, Gareth Bale left midfield, absolutely phenomenal. He tore Inter Milan apart that one game. I know every Spurs fan talks about it, but he single-handedly bullied one of the best Italian teams at the time. So you can't really. And then obviously he went on to win so many Champions Leagues with Real Madrid, carried Wales at their first Euros as well. So you really can't go wrong with him. It's a shame that injuries have made him retire and now he's playing golf, because if he had the body, he could have continued on. I feel maybe we could have had him back for a couple of seasons. I know he came back on loan and he wasn't the same player, but yeah, it was when he was there, he was absolutely class for us.
He was electric. He had that pace and power, didn't he, about his run? I have to say, that Inter Milan game, I just remember, was it Maicon he was up against at right back, and he just moved the ball past him. Literally, it was like he was running past a stationary coach. And Maicon wasn't slow, to be fair, as a defender. And yeah, he was unstoppable in that game, unstoppable. And so what he's gone on to do in his career, he's had a fantastic career, and obviously is beloved in Welsh, in the Welsh lands, and rightly so for his phenomenal career. So Gareth Bale, I think, was a definite left midfield, 100%. And now in the centre of midfield, how are you pairing your centre midfield?
I'm going to go really attacking, so I've got to put Gazza in there. 100%. Paul Gascoigne has to go in that team. I mean, growing up, he was one of my favourite players. He's one of the best players I've ever seen. So mercurial. The guy had the same sort of ability as a Maradona, or that kind of level. But sadly, off the field, issues stopped him becoming an even better player. And he was phenomenal anyway. He carried England at the 1990 Italia World Cup, and then even at Euro 96, after all of his troubles that he had, he was still a quality player, and he was still the key man for England, I felt, at that time. So yeah, he was on his day unplayable. I mean, he could have like 8 pints of beer and destroy a team at 3 o'clock. I don't know anyone else that could do that.
No, I don't know. I remember playing football once with my mate who had 2 drinks and I had to sub him. He was getting one because he was getting a bit mouthy with the referee, and it was no good at all. But yeah, Gascoigne, just what I liked about Gascoigne was his self-belief as well. He knew his talents, and when he just wanted to play football, he just wanted the ball at his feet. And that Scotland game in the Euros, he spent 6 months, I think, giving them banter before, and knowing that he could sort of turn it on. And he had that cup final, didn't he? Obviously for Spurs as well, which is heavily remembered, and a shame for the off the field. You do wonder with Gascoigne if he was in a different era, potentially with somebody round him and from his early career, whether it could have been a different kind of career, maybe more a longer career, but. Yeah, for people of that era, Gascoigne is certainly up there for talented, quality players. And who in your attacking lineup? This is almost as attacking as your dream team show on a Monday.
I know. I'm an all-out attack.
Yeah, there's no tactical knowledge here for this team. But I'm going to pair him with Glenn Hoddle. I feel like Glenn Hoddle is one of the best players. I mean, he was a little bit before my time, so I didn't catch the best of him. But obviously seeing the tapes and what he's done for the club, absolutely incredible football player. One of England's best players of all time, in my opinion, ability-wise. And I should have probably put him out on the wing, but thinking about it, I should have swapped Anderton for Hoddle, but here we are. But yeah, Hoddle and Gascoigne. There's no holding midfield player. It's going to be a 6-5, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's going to be a basketball game, but yeah, he's just an unbelievably technically gifted player.
Yeah, and entertainment o'clock definitely with that midfield. Yeah, Hoddle was another for me. Just before my era, I saw a little bit of Hoddle, and everybody used to say, "Oh, well, he used to sort of carry the ball, good, clever, technical player." And it's funny when you kind of see the back end. You see more of them as a commentator, don't you? And you see more of them kind of as a. Yeah. You hear their voice, don't you? And kind of forget the player a little bit. But everyone you say Hoddle was such a fantastic, and another one that was key in that 1990 squad, wasn't he, for England too. And associated with Tottenham. Did he manage Tottenham as well? Was there a period he managed Tottenham as well as England?
Yeah, he did. He didn't do very well. Same as at Chelsea, he didn't do very well. I feel like he was a decent England manager, though. I know he had some off-field comments that weren't very nice. But
and the spoon bending, didn't he? Didn't he have Uri Geller spoon bending to it?
He did. Yeah, he believes in a lot of alternative things, shall we say?
Yeah. As if only somehow we could have bent that red card back in the pocket in the quarterfinals against Argentina, then would have been all right. But So Glenn, very attacking midfield. So coming to your attackers, who have you got up from some? You've had some very, as you said, a long list of top attackers at Tottenham.
Yeah, this was the hardest point for me. I had to have two strikers because I have to pick. The first one I have to pick is Jurgen Klinsmann because he was my ultimate favourite player growing up. Every Tottenham shirt I had his name on the back. I had his number when I was playing as a kid, so they had to get a special 33 shirt for when we were playing kids football, just for that.
I love that.
Yeah, and he was honestly just an icon for me. So I've never met him, and I've always wanted to. So hopefully that happens at some point. But yeah, he was an unbelievable player for Tottenham as well. Scored so many goals in a poor Tottenham side, carried us for so long. He wasn't there for that long, but he was an absolutely unbelievable player.
And he was right at the start of the Premier League era. He was one of the first European imports as well, wasn't he? And had such we all remember the Klinsmann dive celebration and that. But I mean, Klinsmann and Les Ferdinand as a partnership wasn't bad, was it?
No, it wasn't too bad. No. I think I was a bit disingenuous to Les Ferdinand at the start of the pod. He wasn't a bad player. It's just kind of that squad wasn't as good as what it should have been. But yeah, Les and Jurgen did a good job for us, to be fair.
They did indeed. And who are you pairing alongside Jurgen?
So this is a shock because Harry Kane is not in the team and he is Tottenham's all-time top goal scorer. But I feel like I have to put Berbatov in. I have to put him in. He's my second favourite player at Tottenham ever. So I feel like for nostalgia reasons and because he's my favourite player, and I feel like he's a better quality player, like technically better than Berbatov. As you can see, there's a theme running through my team. You've got Gascoigne, technical player, Anderton, Hoddle, Berbatov. There's a lot of mercurial talents on the pitch, which probably wouldn't work in real life.
You need some legs. You need some legs in there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. In the era of 5 substitutions, I think we can get away with it. Couple off at half time, shall we say? But yeah, it was tough. If we were being honest, Harry Kane should probably be in the team just because of his accolades with Tottenham. But Berbatov, for me, it's just the memories I have with him and the shirts I've got. I've still got them now. So, yeah, I could not put him in the team, if that makes sense.
I'd find it really hard, though, to come up with an all-time best Spurs 11 because they've had some really good players, haven't they? Throughout, most eras, they've had some really, really good players.
Yeah. I mean, another one that's missing is Chris Waddle. Another great player.
Yeah.
Won the Champions League with Marseille. Another quality player there. We've had other players as well that have not been legends, but someone like Wilson Palacios in that Harry Redknapp team was he was vital in the middle of the park, winning the ball back. He was the energy in the middle of the midfield. So someone like him. You've got obviously Alderweireld. We've missed out as well. He was a quality player. I feel like Romero could be one in the future as well. Who could get into that team because he's another quality centre back. Yeah, we've had so many. I mean, Lloris in goal as well. You could say he was probably our best goalkeeper. I just don't like him. So
it's your team. You can put in who you like. There is so many options. Because I was thinking, as you were talking now about up front, and I think I just think Jermaine Defoe and Harry Kane as a partnership could work so well.
Yeah.
Just the way that Defoe was on the shoulder and could sort of maintain that box when Kane dropped a bit deeper. I mean, that could be pretty lethal. And then, they've got Robbie Keane as well.
I was going to say Sam, the Irish one.
the Irish Robbie. Yeah. Remember, if you haven't seen the podcast in the past, Charlotte referred to Robbie Keane as the Irish one as opposed to Roy, the non-Irish one.
It's fair enough. Yeah, I mean,
I suppose Michael Keane's English, isn't he? So you were kind of.
Oh man, funny. Some classics.
Get there. So it's a very good team you've got, and we did mention briefly about managers. Who's going to manage this technical mercurial team?
It's got to be Harry Redknapp. He's the only one that can put his arm around those players and get the best out of them. I feel like if Gaza had a manager, it would either have to be Alex Ferguson or Harry Redknapp because I feel like Harry would go to the pub and get him. So he's that kind of manager. Drive down there in his Range Rover. Pick him up, Sky Sports News is everywhere. Does a little interview at the side of the car, picking Gaza up from the pub type thing. But yeah, I feel like just for me, I feel like he's been one of the best managers we've ever had.
I don't think Conte and Mourinho, I don't think could hack Gaza. I think there'd be a fair few clashes, wouldn't they, in that dressing room?
Yeah, not the type, is it? Yeah, not the way that Terry Venables managed him or anything like that. Be completely different. And at least you know with Harry Redknapp as well that you'll have Nico Cranchiar and Peter Crouch on the bench for emergencies. So, he brought them with him anywhere he went, so guaranteed they'd be there. They'd be there in that squad. Excellent, very good first. It's always quite good
really
doing
bad
those.
now. I feel really bad that we've got to now move on to this season now.
This season, I know.
It's me who's having to be the bearer of bad news. I feel awful.
Yeah, pass you over to Negative Nelly to talk about 22-23.
Oh, yeah, I feel really bad now. But obviously, it's not been the best of seasons, has it? I can sympathise with you, I'm a Rochdale fan, so don't worry. It's not been great for me either. But yeah, from a Spurs point of view, it's obviously not been the best of seasons. Obviously, managerial changes on the pitch hasn't been the best either. But Europe as well, not getting Europe, how do you feel about that? Because obviously it's not happened in a while, has it?
No, if we have to grade this season, it's an ungraded season, as you used to get in the old GCSE results. Again, showing my age there. But yeah, it's a terrible season. I feel like there was so much promise at the start. The transfer window is, if you look back and look at outlets like Sky Sports, they were saying it's one of Tottenham's best ever transfer windows, bringing in players like Jed Spence, Perisic, Richarlison, Fraser Forster as well as a backup keeper.
Yeah.
And I'm a very pessimistic Spurs fan anyway. So I had a feeling Richarlison wouldn't work out because he wasn't going to get game time. Perisic hasn't worked out at all, in my opinion. It's just 5-6 years ago would have been great. Now, not so much. Jed Spence wasn't given a chance, which is a real shame because Emerson Royale is terrible. He's not a Premier League right back, in my opinion. He's more suited to like La Liga, Serie A. Pedro Porro scored a few goals, but again, defensively he's very poor. It was a good loan signing, but I wouldn't sign him in the summer. But yeah, if you take away Harry Kane's goals, I think the next top goal scorer was Bentancur with 6. So you're looking across the front line, Son, Kulusevski, Richarlison, only got a couple of more goals than him. And yeah, if you take Kane's goals away, next season could be really, really tricky.
Yeah, it's like us on the pod. I think we did predictions at the start of the season, and I'm sure I had Spurs as third, and I think all of us had them pretty high up, didn't we, Sam?
I think we did. I think we looked at it and thought, we looked at the transfer window, and particularly like Bentancur and so one or two of the other additions. At that point, Basuma coming in as well. We thought we were almost, arguing have Tottenham or Arsenal had the better transfer window at that point. It looked really rosy and really positive, and I think we all thought potentially Tottenham would be there, but obviously not the case. So some of those transfers have still probably got time to work out. And Bentancur, I think, was good, but I don't know. It was the drop off for me of some of those. Say Son in particular. What did you make of what's happened to Son?
It's a tough one. There must be something going on behind the scenes because on the pitch he doesn't look the same player. I feel like maybe it could be something to do if he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't show it on the pitch, to be fair. He does try it, but he's just not the same player he was a year ago. And I feel like maybe, like I said, there's something going on we're not aware about with him, that he's not happy, or maybe he's just, he's been found out a little bit. With him and Kane, obviously got the most assists as a partnership in Premier League history. So there's definitely a player there. I just feel like we need a massive revamp in the summer. But I'm sure we'll come to talk about that. But this season, terrible. Absolute terrible. I don't think anyone can in the Spurs team. Like, I was really annoyed. I saw on Sky Sports that we were giving out Player of the Year awards, and I was like, why? In a season when we haven't done anything. It's just that's the mindset of the football club is wrong, in my opinion. Like for instance, in a normal working environment, if you don't reach like KPIs, for instance, you don't get an award. So that's why I don't feel like they should be back in with the Burnley players now being pre-season, in my opinion. But that's probably a bit harsh, isn't it? So.
Just speaking before we change to off the pitch, just talking a bit on the pitch, what do you think, apart from obviously the players' bad performances, obviously, and what do you think kind of went wrong? Do you think obviously Conte was to blame? Do you think it's just the signings? Do you think it's a style of play? What do you think's actually gone wrong?
Yeah, I think it's the 3-5-2 system that he plays. We
Yeah.
we don't have three good centre backs, and normally like there's that old adage that you play a five at the back because you don't have two good centre backs, so you need another one for cover. And I feel like the only proper centre back that we've got is Romero, and when he's missing, it really shows. Like Eric Dyer, in my opinion, has had his day at this level in the Premier League. He can do a job for lower down in the league, but for Tottenham, he's not good enough. And then we've struggled to build that partnership between them. I mean, we've played Tanganga a bit as well. He looked like he was promising, but it's just fallen off a cliff also this season. So yeah, there just isn't those options at centre back, and with that system, you need quality centre backs. So you would need, if you're going to do well with that system, you need five of them at least, or four very good and say a promising youth prospect, but. We just haven't got that, and that's where we didn't strengthen in the summer enough, in my opinion. Like we were too focused on the forward players, but the forward players wasn't the issue. We had Son, Kane, and Kulusevski. We didn't need Richarlison. We could have got a cheaper option for backup, in my opinion. I know transfer values are massive this season, but we didn't identify the key areas that needed improving and improve upon them. We sort of bought players because they were available, if that makes sense.
It's like even Hugo Lloris as well. Like he was a great goalkeeper, but he just seems to have gone totally off the boil. And do you think that's because of obviously the defenders as well? Because he's only got the three in front of him. Do you think that could have affected obviously his gameplay? I know obviously in the World Cup he wasn't performing as well, but do you think that could have been? Yeah,
I feel like that. It adds to it. But I feel like as a top class goalkeeper, he's done as well.
Definitely.
He's not the youngest, and I know goalkeepers go on for a bit longer, but you're starting to see that with De Gea now as well. Like the amount of mistakes he's made for Man United this season. Lloris is the same for Tottenham, but he's been like that for the last couple. He's a very inconsistent goalkeeper. He's either world class and has an absolute brilliant game, or he drops a clanger now and again. I know that's goalkeepers for you.
There's no middle ground. There's no middle ground with them, is there? It's either they're amazing or they're just totally off the boil at that game. You see that a lot with goalkeepers as well now, don't you? And I think with goalkeepers in particular in this day and age, you need someone who can like play football, obviously the passing on the ball as well. And De Gea and Lloris in particular, I don't think they are like that, have they? They've got a mistake in them. And you can't afford to do that now, especially being a top club.
No, that's the thing. Those mistakes can cost you 2 points, 3 points. And where the Premier League's been it's getting more and more competitive, especially at that top bracket level, with the introduction of Newcastle and their money. Brighton's recruitment's gone really well, so they're a club that are on the up. Brentford as well, with their recruitment, are on the up. So it's tougher to get into those European places now, even though there's more of them. But yeah, if you get your recruitment wrong and then you've got goalkeepers that make mistakes, it just compiles the problem.
100%. And we've been quite vocal about it, obviously. And we don't know a lot what's going on because we're not Spurs fans, but it doesn't seem like it's working off the pitch as well. And I know there's a few Spurs fans who's not happy with Daniel Levy. What's your opinions on him?
I actually think, I don't mind Daniel Levy. I feel like he gets a lot of stick, but he gets the stick because the scouting team doesn't work. So I think we need a revamp behind the scenes, because it's not like he doesn't give us money. We will spend money. Like, for instance, we spent 60 million on Richarlison. We spent some money on Basuma. We spent 50 million on Romero. So the funds are there and he spends. We're just not spending in the right places. So don't think the issue is with Levy. It's with the chief scout, the scouts. There's something wrong there. They're not identifying the right talent, because if no disrespect to Brighton, but if a team the size of Brighton can come up with this many amount of great players and sell them on for a profit as well, Tottenham would have a bigger scouting budget. I would have thought, maybe not, but there's definitely something we need to do behind the scenes. Is because the recruitment isn't right. We need something. We need a revamp there, in my opinion.
It's really frustrating as well. Like looking, it will obviously be for you, but looking obviously from a total different perspective, he seems to be really going in the right direction. It's like the new ground. There's so many good things happening, but it just doesn't seem to obviously be working. And I just don't know what it is. Like, is there issues with any other like board members or anything, or is it just? Do you think it is just down to the recruitment?
Yeah, I think we need to look at ourselves. We've been chopping and changing managers, and when clubs do that, it doesn't really work. I know Chelsea have had success doing that and winning trophies, but then they've had extraordinary backing. So you're buying the best players in the world all the time.
100%,
you're going to win something at some point. Whereas we don't have that luxury of that level of budget. So we need to be a little bit smarter with it. And I feel like if we revamped our scouting team, got rid of them, got new scouts in, new chief scouts, new recruitment analysts as well, we could definitely improve on the pitch, because off the pitch, we're one of the best run clubs in the country, if not the best. We've got one of the best stadiums in the country as well. We make so much money outside of football from things like Beyonce concerts, NFL sponsorships. I think there's going to be like a karting event at Tottenham as well at some point, like a Formula One version of karting is going to be there. So there's a lot of big brands coming to the stadium to do events. We've had boxing there as well, not too far along. Too far along. Yeah, so I feel like if we can get it right in the back end, we've got money to spend, and then I think that's when we'll kick on. But we need a manager I'm sure we'll come to speak about Ange, but if he's backed in the project, we need to give him at least 4 or 5 years to turn this around. To be honest,
as you say, it's a difficult point, isn't it? Because you've had this kind of upheaval with obviously Conte. Which I don't know what you thought with Conte with his appointment, that always kind of looked like it was going to end that way. Conte's relationships always tend to go that way towards the end. Yeah, perhaps not maybe so soon, but so you kind of had this long period of, say, Ryan Mason then came in, and there's been a bit of a gap. There's obviously managers that are floating around. There was rumours that they talked to people like Julian Nagelsmann. Obviously, Pochettino's gone to Chelsea in the same period, so there's all sorts of things that are putting pressure on. And now, as you say, you've got Ange Postecoglou. I'm going to have to learn to get that name right pretty soon. Who's coming, obviously winning a treble off the bat for Celtic. So, I mean, do you think he's going to be given the time to put this right?
The good thing is next season we don't have European football, and I say it's a good thing because he can focus on the league. You can focus on, say, the FA Cup. And if I was Ange, I'd be targeting the League Cup, in my opinion, because if he gets a trophy in his first season, he will get the time. So if he goes and I know it's the League Cup, it's not seen as a prestige trophy, but it's still a trophy, something we haven't had for so long. The fans will get behind him. They'll give him more time. He plays very good football as well. But if we have a run of results and we're in November and we're sort of in and around 14th, 15th, he'll be gone. I can see Levy pressing the panic button, and then we'll get a stopgap in again for 6 months, and then go again in the summer. But if he's going to work, he has to be backed, because what he did at Celtic was good. Let's be honest, it's Celtic. They're going to dominate the league, especially because they've got the biggest budget. His recruitment's been good. He goes to players that he knows. Up at Celtic, he brought in Furuhashi, who's a very good player. I'd like to see him at Tottenham. That would be good. But yeah, if they give him the funds, they've got to give him time as well. I feel like he needs 4 or 5 years to revamp the squad, especially with the players he could lose in the summer as well.
Well, that's the key thing, isn't it? The players that they could lose in the summer that would really push that revamp, and say that the big one obviously being Harry Kane. Harry Kane being the massive one in the news. If Harry Kane is to go, which looks like it's a good possibility, you've got a complete revamp, which may also be an opportunity in its extent. You lose Harry Kane's goals and how important he's been to the team, sure, but with his age, you're coming to that point at some point anyway. You've got to build the new team. So, do you think Kane going may help, because expectations, I would imagine, lower with that as well? Do you think that's possibly the best thing for Ange to start with?
Yeah, and I've been saying it for a few years that Kane should go. I know as a Spurs fan, you shouldn't be saying that, but I feel like he needs to go, because we can't attract another striker. So whichever striker we buy when we've got Kane there isn't going to be of sufficient quality, because they know they're not going to play. And especially if there's major tournaments coming up, which next year is the season before the Euros. If we get a German, French, or any international player that can play in the Euros, they're not going to come if Kane's there, because they know they're not going to play most of the time. So they won't make that Euro squad. So I think him going with the funds it brings in as well, it opens up a slot to get in a couple of good strikers and potentially fill up other slots as well, plus the budget we should already have. So yeah, I feel like if he goes and if Son goes as well, then yeah, Ange will definitely need time, and I think he'll be given it by the fans because they'll understand that we've sold 2 of our best players.
Yeah, and that's it. You lose Kane and Son, then you've lost that kind of that last 5 years, that surety, haven't you? You could do no matter what the times are happening. You know, Kane and Son. Okay, Son didn't deliver this season, but usually does, and Kane's still got an unbelievable amount of goals considering the season that you've had. So for him to go, do you worry a bit that Levy might get a bit money hungry with it, and therefore it drags the whole saga out because there's teams in for it. He knows that there's teams about with money. You know, talking Real Madrid, Manchester United, Bayern Munich, that he might say, "Nah, let's have a bidding war," and then you don't end up selling him until late August, and then you're struggling to bring someone in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you can see it coming now. He's going to go a week before deadline day, and then we're going to sign a panic signing on the eve of midnight to replace him.
Weghorst is available.
I was going to say it.
He'll do a job of kind.
I'll take 10% of his salary and do the same job. It's fine, but yeah, no. I feel like if Kane goes, I think Ange, he tends to go for what he knows. So Furuhashi, 20 million, I think they were talking about on Sky Sports earlier, wouldn't be so bad. I don't think I've seen a lot of Celtic this season. I don't know if he'll do it in the Premier League, but I mean, yeah, it's worth a punt for 20 million.
And probably you could get, if you've got that link with a manager already, you can probably persuade them and say, look, Kane's going. It's just a matter of time. And when given that confidence where, yeah, if you're dealing with somebody completely unknown from the continent, they might have, suspect hippo eyes going, oh, is he really going? What happens if we get to September and suddenly Harry Kane sat in front of me? And then, yeah, you've got a different issue, haven't you? But we'll see. So Kane's obviously one. You mentioned Son. In terms of the rest of the current squad, do you think a big overhaul is possible to get that many people out, or you're looking at this as a 2-3 year project?
If we're being realistic, it's a project. I feel like if it was me and I was the Spurs manager, if I was Ange, I'd look at players like Lloris, Eric Dyer. Who else have we got there? Yeah, those 2 particularly. Get them out, get them done. Get a new goalkeeper in. Get a new centre back or utility player because Dyer can play in the midfield as well. Give some more time to some of the younger players like Skip. He looks a decent player, could do it. But yeah, I think realistically, yeah, you're looking at 2 to 3 years to get, move the players on because at the end of the day, who's going to want them? That's the other thing as well.
That's true.
That is very true. And good news is you'll have the opportunity very soon to maybe move some of these players on in our game that we'll come to at the end. So don't worry, there is that possibility. Just to sort of finish up on the squad, is there any young prospects that you're aware of or anything else that you'd like to see given a chance in the first team next season?
Yeah, I know Ollie Skip's been around the first team. He's one I would definitely, try and start him as many games as you can pretty much all season. So I think there's a quality player in there. As well as players like Dane Scarlett. I feel like if Kane is going to go, he could be a good backup option. I know he was on loan in League One this season, didn't really set it alight. But again, at Tottenham, he could do. You've got players like Troy Parrott as well. Who has always been touted as Harry Kane's replacement, but never really seen it from him. To be fair, there is a real lack. I mean, in the we recently signed, I think in January, Jude Sunset-Bell, who's a Football Manager legend. We signed him from Chelsea, and he's in our development squad, I think they call it. So yeah, he could be one. He's only 17 now, I think, so maybe one for a few years' time, but. There's a player in there if he develops like he does on Football Manager, but we know that doesn't always happen in real life.
That's the problem for those that don't play Football Manager. When you
get
attached to someone,
I feel like I need to play it.
You do. You become attached to so many players, and when they don't, it's heartbreaking. And you see them playing at 4th division in Cyprus, and again, it could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I need to play Football Manager, honestly. But I'm the kind of person when I get a new game or something, I become addicted to it, and then I'll suddenly lose interest. So I need to kind of get on the Football Manager hype because everyone seems to be talking about it.
You do.
Honestly,
your numbers on Twitch would be ridiculous if you started
might
doing
frustrate
Football Manager,
me too much,
sure.
though. I might start getting angry.
Yeah.
I'll end up with no laptop because we've lost again. I won't be Rochdale.
Just
moving on. Sorry, go on.
No. I was going to say it will take over your life. So yeah,
I remember when we started playing Sims, me and my sister, and then I got addicted to Sims as well. So with me, anything, I'll go onto it like a phase, and then I'll suddenly like go off it, and then in 2 months' time, I'll get back on the hype again when I see people talking about it.
I can tell. I'll get up in the middle of it. It'll be like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll go down for a sort of drink, and I'll have a look quickly on my phone. And be like, Shah is streaming on Twitch for a 12-hour session from 4 in the afternoon.
I'm destined to win a game. They're gonna win one. That'd be me. But obviously, we spoke about last season. We'll get on to next season now. As a Tottenham fan, what are your hopes for next season? I know it's going to be a long summer. I know there's a lot of like hurdles ahead, obviously new manager and stuff, rebuilding like we've mentioned. But what would you be happy with next season?
7th and a trophy. I'd be happy with that. Or do you know what? I would take 16th and a trophy. At this point, I'm just desperate to win a trophy. I mean, I won't be happy with the 16th place, but if it's trade off between that, I'd take the trophy. But I feel like a good cup run definitely has to be done.
Yeah.
And then finishing in the Conference League at least as a minimum expectation.
It's going to be tough, isn't it? With the teams that are, everyone's kind of in a rebuild. You've obviously got Manchester City miles ahead of everybody at the moment. Arsenal had a very good season, which I imagine for you wasn't kind of great in parallels having that happen at the same time. Obviously, they didn't get the job done, so at least you can save some face over the summer. But Arsenal seem to be in a better place and are looking to progress. Chelsea will just spend money until it continues to kind of happen. And now they've got Pochettino, their project's kind of going. You've got Manchester United that have rebuilt a bit this season. Newcastle are above their expectations. And then you've got the Brightfords and the Brentfords. And do you worry that you could slip further down before you come back again?
Yeah. And this is like going back to, we're talking about recruitment. This is why it's so important for me to make that change internally, because we will just be playing catch up at one point. We've got a chance this summer to back a manager and to change things. But if we carry on with the same pattern, we will just start falling down the table. And who knows, it could go either way. We could do really well, or we could end up like someone like Leeds, up and down. Because they're a huge club that have been up and down. Well, not so much in the Premier League often, but yeah, that could be what's on the cards. If we carry on with poor recruitment and chopping and changing managers and no real direction, it could definitely be on the cards.
Yeah, it's the direction, I think, as you said, direction, belief in the project and what you're doing, having that right structure in place. So it will be an interesting summer. Tottenham are going to be busy amongst many teams. I think are going to be busy across this summer. It's going to be a very, very exciting transfer window. And talking of transfer windows, you can now play our game, the absolutely or absolutely not game, where you get the chance to play Football Manager in real life here by shipping some of the deadwood out. But of course, we can't do that without the intro video to the game.
The question with only 2 answers. Absolutely or absolutely not.
Absolutely.
No. Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not, mate. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh yes, absolutely.
Absolutely not.
So here it comes, the question with only 2 answers. Absolutely or absolutely not.
There you go. It is absolutely not. Our Sky Sports level of production comes through again with our intro video, well prepared and well ready. Of course, this is absolutely or absolutely not, where we will share with you 6 players, and you're going to tell us whether absolutely you think they're going or absolutely not they should stay. So, without further ado, let's bring up the list. 1 or 2 you've already mentioned, so I've got a feeling where they may well end up. But we begin, first of all, Hugo Lloris, absolutely or absolutely not?
Absolutely has to go.
Absolutely has to go. Lloris, you're on the chopping block. Time is up for Lloris. Next up, it's Eric Dyer.
Absolutely has to go.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not for Eric Dyer. Time to move on for Eric Dyer. Ryan Sessegnon, absolutely or absolutely not?
Oh, this is a tough one. It is actually a tough one. I know there's only two answers, but I'm on the fence. Yeah, I'd say absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Sessegnon's off as well. There we go. Busy transfer window coming on. And next up, we have Tanganga. Tanganga, absolutely or absolutely not?
Oh, yeah, Jaffa Cake has to stay, absolutely.
Absolutely. Jaffa Cake, Tanganga.
I love his
remains at the
name.
club.
I love it.
It is legendary. Tanganga, Ben Davies, absolutely or absolutely not?
It's time for Davis to go. So, yeah, absolutely not. He has to go.
It's absolutely not for Davies. And then last but not least, Harry Kane. Absolutely or absolutely not?
Such a tough one. I think he's going to go. Yeah, he's going to go. So, yeah, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Wow, if nothing else, that's exciting to see where his transfer. We're going to predict the
I'm
transfer.
excited now.
Where he's going to go for Harry Kane. And there's some absolute classics in terms of who we've got to come. So the next part, of course, is we have to find out where these players are going to go. It's an open transfer window. We've got some legendary teams of the pod. We've got some random teams of the pod. And we will see where they end up. So first off, we've got Hugo Lloris. So I think we'll spin the wheel for Hugo Lloris. Where is Hugo going to go? And Hugo Lloris is, it was almost watched out. Juventus.
Ooh.
Juventus for Hugo Lloris. Little trip off to Serie A. Possible. Next up, Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer, hands up. Who wants Eric Dyer?
Don't
Eric
be
Dyer's
us.
coming
Don't
in.
be us.
Eric Dyer's off to AC Milan.
Oh,
that's an interesting one. Alongside Tamori, is he? Wow. Maybe we could do a swap deal. That wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, I'll take that swap now. Yeah.
So Eric Dyer's off to AC Milan. Next up, we said, Ryan Sessegnon was going to go. But where? Where is Sessegnon going to go? And he's off to VVV Venlo in the Eredivisie. Lovely for Sessegnon. Off he goes. VVV Venlo, I think the second division, actually, Dutch division, but lovely to go to the Netherlands nonetheless. And Ben Davies, where are you off to? Spin the wheel. And Ben Davies is off to Barnsley. Oh, Barnsley, very nice for him too. And the big one, Harry Kane could go to a number of these teams.
You're hoping it's United.
We can only wait and see. Where does he go? Harry Kane, and he's off to the Dog and Duck FC. Harry Kane. He's off to play pub football for the Dog and Duck FC. I mean, he might win a trophy.
It's true.
At the Dog and Duck FC. Congratulations, Harry Kane. You may have to take a pay cut, but enjoy. And that ends our absolutely not game. Oh God, of all the teams, Dog and Duck FC. Perfect. Well, we sadly come to the end of our podcast. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you on. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us. We're looking forward to speaking with you, and it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you so much for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me. It's been an absolute blast.
Excellent stuff. And of course, before we go, where can people find you? Your content, obviously, on TikTok and YouTube and anywhere else that you're at. Where can people go to check you out and check out what you're up to?
Yeah, TikTok, YouTube are the best place. Twitch is coming soon. There is a channel, but it's not ready yet. So yeah, that'll be something that'll be coming in the next few months.
Exciting. So do go and check those out. It's free to follow and subscribe, so do it as much as you like and hit that like button and everything else to support our man here with all the content that he's doing. And of course, Charlotte, thank you so much for being here. It's lovely, of course, to share another podcast with you. And if you want to follow the Absolute Pod, which is definitely an absolutely not on the board, then we'll bring up here are links because Josh set them all up differently because he doesn't want to make it easy for you. So on Twitter, we are at Absolute Ball Pod. On TikTok, we are at Absolute Football Pod. And on Instagram, we are Absolute Football Podcast _. Please do check us out. and we have plenty of stuff coming up during the summer, don't we, Shah? We're not shutting down. There's no football, which is sad, but we've got content and ideas, more all about different clubs coming up, as well as the podcast on a Monday is gonna. Once we come up with some ideas about what we're going to talk about, we will be there. We will be there, if nothing else, talking about our dinner and our days.
I'm hoping it's going to be a karaoke one.
A karaoke session, possibly. That may have to be a Saturday night special podcast. But for now, thank you everybody for joining us. We hope you're well and you have a great week, and hopefully we will catch you soon. So take care and bye-bye.